Corey, thanks again for joining us. As I mentioned earlier in the conversation with Alex, you're really the reason why we're here. ExxonMobil is doing a lot of innovative things, and you're doing some innovative things at a really, really fast pace. So maybe just kind of give us some of the background on process mining and automation, and what problems were you trying to solve?
Sure, great. So I actually found out about Celonis when I was doing a rotational assignment in ExxonMobil IT. And having a 30-year business background, I immediately saw the value proposition and the benefits that Celonis can bring. So I was able to successfully bring Celonis into the corporation's platform in 2017. And then just shortly after that, I actually got transferred back to my home company, ExxonMobil Chemical, where I'm in my current role as a global supply chain digital transformation manager. My very first assignment in that new role, I actually got to implement Celonis on one of our use cases with order to cash. The assignment I was given was to come up with a vision and a project plan to implement a new customer engagement center that included a new e-commerce platform. Now, we're growing rapidly, and we have some new business models that are a bit challenging in our legacy ERP systems. And so it was a great opportunity to use Celonis to be able to visualize, diagnose, and understand what those challenges were so we could address them. And that's how it started.
That's great. That's great. And like you said, you found Celonis, before we started working together. And I remember in one of the meetings we had, when you were showing the progress of the business case, you showed me Celonis technology, and it really was the jumping off point for this partnership. So really, what was it about what Celonis can do and what Conexiom can do? What made you think, hey, maybe I can bring these things together? What was the vision there? What were you trying to achieve, not only independently with both solutions, but in an integrated way?
Yeah. So, as part of that project to implement the new customer engagement center, we recognized that not all customers were going to want to put an order in online in the e-commerce platform. We want to be able to offer our customers optionality. However, that optionality can't mean we just push all of this manual sales order creation over to our customer account specialists, because especially at the rate that we're growing, we don't want to push that manual volume of order entry onto them. So we were looking for a global scalable solution to automate the order entry for orders that are coming in over email to us from our customers. Well, we tried going down the path of doing homegrown solutions, but to be honest, we could not do anything in-house that was scalable given the global nature of our business and some of the complexities of some of our businesses. So actually, I was recommended to talk to Conexiom. We actually had our first call with your team the week of the global pandemic, the first week. But within 80 days, we not only signed a contract, implemented the technical solution, and took our first order. I mean, it was just a super fast implementation. While we were doing all of that build up to going live, I used Celonis to create a dashboard that basically helped us analyze what order types were a good fit for the Conexiom platform and which customers we should go after to get the biggest bang for our buck in the implementation and see the value faster. And so we wanted to also be able to see the end-to-end process. So from the time a Celonis order comes into our system, a Conexiom order comes into our system, all the way through the order processing. And it worked beautifully, and that's what you saw. And after 16 months of having Conexiom in operation, we're now placing orders at a rate of over 72,000 orders per year and growing. And as they say, the rest is history.
No, that's great. You've been a great customer all along, and you've pushed us, so I appreciate it. And I'm really glad when you showed the business case and you wanted to understand, kind of quantify, are we making the progress we're making, that you showed that Celonis dashboard, because we might not be here today if you didn't. Maybe one last question, Corey. I'm sure there's a lot of folks out there in the midst of a digital transformation or in the midst of an automation journey. What are some tips and tricks that you would say to someone who maybe hasn't yet started yet? Like maybe you can give some of the folks in the crowd just some ideas on things you would do to jumpstart a transformation like this.
Yeah, the biggest thing that comes to mind is, when you're trying to tackle an automation problem, you need to really understand the variability in your process. Because while you can automate complexity, that complexity needs to be a little bit or have some consistency to it. It is very hard to automate an inconsistent, complex process. It usually becomes costly and sometimes near impossible to achieve in a meaningful way, especially at global scale. And so that's really the power of Celonis, is it allows us to deeply understand, visualize all of that complexity, the variation, so that we can do the business process redesign if we need to be able to get to a better automation solution instead of just automating a bad process.
That's great. It makes a ton of sense, right? If you like you said, if you automate a bad process, the outcome is not going to be perfect. But when you can take some of the power that Celonis and the insights that Celonis can give you as it relates to understanding how best and what a good process looks like, and then automate from there, that's a much more scalable solution. So that's a great tip.
Yeah.